We are smashing through this bike build. We are back now to start putting bits on this bike. We've got various different bits and pieces in boxes here, all brand new. It's actually a little bit of a surprise, some of these parts. We don't actually know what's going on this bike. We've just been given a load of parts to fit to this. I've got my good friend Macauley here. He's a world superbike mechanic for the factory BMW team in the past, Honda British Superbikes, and he now works in my team in Vision Track Racing in the Moto3 Championship. So he's very experienced, he knows exactly what he's talking about. Unlike myself.
Some problems I solve them, I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted, the bow and affection, I summon and dumb.
So,
It's like Christmas, isn't it?
It is like Christmas.
It's like
now.
Christmas, now's the time. Cleaning's done, everything's off. Now it's the time to bolt on the goodies. I'm going to crack on.
We're going to start at the front of the bike
Yeah.
and work our way backwards.
I think there's so many things to add. If we start at the front, we'll just work our way back.
Okay.
And just see what we've got inside these
First
boxes.
things first, we're now getting to a real YouTube section. We are going to do an unboxing video. So follow me.
So,
right, that's a here's some brake pads.
So we started at the front. We've got to have some brake pads. So we're putting in some Brembo Z04 brake pads. These brake pads are incredible. They are the best brake pads I think you can buy.
Yeah, it's what we all use in
GP. It's what I've put these on, and you'll never have a problem.
Yeah.
So
show me how to fit. So
I'll show you how to fit them. So let's pop them on the bench.
If you haven't been following along with the series so far, the whole object of this series is I don't really know what I'm doing. I pretend to know what I'm doing, but I don't. But Macauley does. So Macauley is going to give us a step-by-step guide on how to fit all of these parts to your bike and how we're going to turn this from a road bike into something that you could ride or race on the track.
The M1000 calipers in the fancy blue. Now what we're going to do is just gently push each pad into the middle, and then we're just going to gently just pull them out.
We skipped ahead there. We went to put the brake pads in, they're not quite ready. We're just waiting on the brake pads being delivered to here. So for now, we're going to fit the handlebars. So we've got Litec clip-on handlebars, shiny new bars, unboxing. Is there a weight difference between these and standard ones? We've got standard ones here. Oh yeah, whoa, feel that. Oh, I suppose that does have a clamp on.
I think that and the full clamp's still lighter than the standard.
There you go. Let me see.
But
Oh, light tech.
The beauty of this as well is when you crash, you just undo these, you get a new one of these and pop it straight in.
That is
where
the best
that is half of the yoke.
Yeah.
And that's a BMW part, and that means it's expensive.
Pound sign, pound sign, pound sign.
Pound sign, pound sign, pound sign. These bits are for replacing into the yoke. So we'll just park them there a minute. And what we need to do is pop a little blob of grease on these threads. Just so, when you come to undo them next time,
You can get them back out.
you can get them back out.
Why would you use grease and not Loctite?
Loctite on handlebars, because it's only aluminium. So I think if it's an aluminium clamp and an aluminium bolt, I think it would make it life too hard to get them out. At the end of the day, it's a race bike. You're going to be adjusting handlebars for different positions and stuff like that. So you want it easy to work with.
Does that just go on there?
That just goes on there, push down, and then you just gently nip it into place. We'll set them all once we get the positions. And then we have to do this side. Let me do that.
This on?
And then that's where these things come into place.
Okay.
So Litec do these handlebar clamps, which are for the top yoke. So you put the top yoke over here.
I bent one of these once.
Top yoke.
Sent a BMW end over end and I've got it, I use it as a pencil holder. I'm not even joking. Key barrel is a pencil holder.
So these bolt into there and bolt over there like that. And that's it.
As easy as that.
That is now your new top yoke. So we're going to use the bolts that we originally took out from the handlebars, which are these ones. So if you hold them, again, just a little bit of grease on these, yeah. So I'll do that because I know
Yeah,
you don't like getting your hands dirty. It's important to grease them as well because when you're putting a bolt into anodised aluminium, usually the bolt can bite into the anodising, which makes it really hard to get it back out. But also, when you come to torque it up, it bites onto the anodising, so you get a false torque reading.
I see.
So the bolt will, or the torque wrench will click, but the bolt's not necessarily tight. So if we just put that into there.
Like that?
Like that, yeah.
See the second Macca went, he's like this, looking at me, checking what I was doing. She's in.
She's in. And then just gently screw that in.
This is actually fun. I'm enjoying doing this so far. I feel like a real bike mechanic.
So what we'll do, once you get it tight, just back it off half a turn, and then what we'll do is when we get all the bolts in and everything's secure, then we can torque it all up.
If you're enjoying this build, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another episode because there's plenty more coming up very soon.
So that's the T30, and then now we're on to the T40 for these two pinch bolts. Again, wind it in. It's all still loose.
What do you reckon to me so far? Do you reckon I get a job on the spanners or?
Maybe, yeah.
He's just saying that.
You got to find a brave rider.
Maybe. You're going to make another coffee, would you?
Yeah. Right, so now we've got the clamps on. And we've got the new Litec top clamp bits on.
Yeah.
So now, the first job is tighten the top yoke.
Okay.
So what we need to do is find out the torque spec, and we need to torque this up. And then once we torque this up, we can do the pinch bolts, top clamp, and then we can then set the bars.
Okay.
Once we've done this, then it's just the handlebar tubes, and we're about there.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Where do we find the torque specs?
So, online.
You're dying to give me this there. Not sure it's, I think it's the 36. Did I say the right word? 36.
I can't remember where I put it.
Just chuck us a 36, would you? What does that even mean? So 36 takes 36 turns to tighten it, I think. So where are you going now? Are you going on the internet?
So I'm going on the internet
To find the manual.
and to find the manual, yeah. Right, so now we've tightened the top yoke. Now I've found the torque. Perfect.
Right.
That's tight. Now, top yoke looks done. Now it's the pinch bolts. So what we need to do is we need to find T40. What we'll do, let me set the torque wrench. There we go. So if you want to start tightening them, let me tighten the first one.
Trust me.
Trust you. There we go. We've tightened that,
Yeah.
we've tightened them, we've tightened them. So the top yoke is now done. So what we're going to do now is put the levers in, slide all the controls on, set the bars.
Okay.
Top yoke's now installed. Now we can add the handlebars. So you need this one. It's the one you can see through because we'll be adding a brake lever guard.
Cool.
So what you want to do, start with the first thing that's going to go on. So what you're going to start with is the throttle. So slide it through the throttle. Then the next thing is going to be the switch. So you put the switch over it. And then last but not least, the master cylinder reservoir.
It's very fiddly, this job, isn't it?
It's the handlebars is probably the most fiddliest, yeah.
Not quite as fiddly, Macca, as the front dash on a
Moto 3.
Moto 3 bike.
Not as bad as that.
If you ever want to see Macca stressed, just watch him building his bike on a Thursday when he's got to get that line up about 6 different things with a tiny little 8mm bolt.
So
like that, and that's just going
like
in there.
that, and then that wants to go in there. So what you want to do is now you're going to push the handlebar as far in as this will go. So handlebars all the way in the bars, and then now I'm just going to nip these 2 bolts.
As we did say at the start of this video, for anyone that's interested in winning this bike, which you can do if you follow the link in the description below, Macca is checking everything I'm doing. So
I will check everything.
This bike's been built by a World Superbike MotoGP mechanic, not some YouTuber that has no idea.
So now we have to torque them up.
Okay.
Once we torque them up, we can then position the handlebars, and we then sort all the controls.
Okay. Again, for anyone that's doing this at home, it might not be that you've got an M1000, but you can find the manual for your bike and find all the torque settings that you need. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Any good manual will have all the torque settings, and if they don't, then the parts that you're putting on should have some instructions with them on. So you have to do a little bit at a time, with it being a pinch bolt, so you have to do
One and then
one, yep, and then move into this one. Yeah, then this one. There we go, and this one. And then check this one. And then check this one. There we go.
We're quite far into today. It is now 25, I can't even tell the time, 25 past 5. We started at about 10 o'clock this morning. Macauley then, you would have seen on the time lapse, was drilling the bars here to put the locating screw?
Pins,
Pin?
yeah, screws, pins.
For the switch gears. So they've gone on now.
Yep. So we've had to put them on. We've had to drill 1 hole here and 1 hole here. So on the BMW, it's got locating screws that go all through the switch gears just to stop the grips and the whole switch assemblies from moving. So we've just drilled them, put the bars back on it. Now we need to set the bars somewhere how you would ride it, and then
let me mount it.
Let you mount it.
I've got jeans on. I feel like I'm riding a job. It's so funny.
Obviously,
What do I do again?
They feel
They're not
even?
far away. They don't feel even. Is that straight there?
That looks fairly straight for now.
I think the right one needs to come out slightly.
This one?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I'll do it again when we've got the seat.
We'll do
on,
it
but
now
it's
when
more
we
or
get
less.
it all seat. But as long as it's more or less, we can get that nipped up, and then, yeah, once we've finished, we can get it all finalised.
The next part I'm going to grab out of this box. I'll be back with you in 2 seconds. While Macaulay's tidying up in the background, it's like Ready, Steady, Cook this. It's like, no, 24-hour house makeover, whatever that program's called. I've butchered whatever that was called. We've got some levers. Is that front brake lever or a clutch lever?
Clutch lever.
I knew that, clutch lever, left-handed. So we've got the clutch lever to fit, and then we've also got a front brake guard. I talked about this in my last bike build project. These are an essential now on track days in the UK. You need to have a brake guard fitted. So this is a very nice Litec one. We're going to fit that.
So, bolt this little piece on here first. Some Litec bling. And then we can tighten that up. Torqued. And then
The theme of this build is stealth, isn't it? With some
stealth.
red bling. We're going red anodized bling, which I
red
rate.
and black.
I'm a fan of red and black.
You eye that up, let me get you the socket. Should be a 5mm.
And I'll just tighten this up and it's going to
And you should
magically...
just tighten that up and it should magically grab.
Oh yeah. As easy as that.
As easy as that.
I'll let you check the...
I'll check it, but that's it.
We'll get it in line first. It's nice to let the viewers know that I'm potentially going to win this bike, that was tightened by Macauley, not me. Now we have got the front brake lever with a fancy remote adjuster. So this remote adjuster, for people that don't know, front brake lever goes on, this goes across there like that, and then whilst you're on the bike, that will be mounted on your handlebar like this. You can then adjust your lever. See, it's got clicky. Oh, look at that, nice motion that. That is there so you can adjust your brake lever remotely whilst you're riding. And now you know.
Hence remote adjuster.
How do you take the cable out?
So basically what we're doing, just going to wind this adjuster all the way in. See if we can get it out this end. No, we can't. Right, we've got to go down to here. Slacken the cable off down at the bottom. So. There we go.
As if by magic.
Now we need to undo that bolt. T30.
I'll get a clutch lever.
Clutch lever, yeah.
Li-Tech with an adjuster on it.
And there we go. That is the old one. Off.
Nearly a disaster. I see why that cable tie's there now.
You see why the cable tie's on. So, another little top tip.
Yep.
A little bit of grease. Again, the lever moves around this, so a little bit of grease isn't going to harm it. And then what we've got to do...
Nice. Bit too much play.
Bit too much play, so I can nip it up a little bit more. How's that feel?
Yeah, a bit slack. Where's the cable gone?
Okay, let me tighten this. Okay, that's tight. I can wipe this grease off. Now, we're going to have to put this inside here. So,
it's still disconnected down there.
Still disconnected that side, so we have to get it in this side, and then what we'll do is we'll adjust it down at the bottom. So we've got it in there, and it's in here. Now, what general top tip is, set this halfway. So you set this halfway on its range, and then you adjust it down at the bottom. And the reason you do this is then you've got half the thread to go this way and half the thread to go that way to make it slacker or tighter.
Okay.
Rather than have it all the way wound in and all the way loose there, and then when you come to ride it, you can't change the bottom because you ain't got spanners with you.
I see.
What we're doing is I'm just setting this halfway. It's about halfway that, and then we're going to just lock it off with this adjuster here. So we've adjusted the span halfway, locked off, and now I know I can go halfway in and halfway out when we need to adjust this when it's riding. It will change when it's hot and everything like this. So now we come back down to this end, and now we've got to adjust this end. So we're going to adjust these nuts. And when do you need to feel the clutch? So when you tell me when it feels right.
Right. In what way do you mean feels right?
Play? How's the play?
No, I don't think there's enough play in that.
There's not enough play in that?
I don't think so. How much play should there be in it?
There's usually about a £1 coin gap. If you can fit a £1 coin in that gap there. So yeah, that's about right. That.
Yeah.
You've got that much play in it, and then yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'll lock that off.
What happens if there's no play in it?
If there's no play in it, your clutch might slip when it's hot.
Right.
So when your clutch pack grows and it gets with heat, what will happen is that can go tight, and then your clutch will slip.
Right.
And then if it's too loose, when you pull the clutch in, it won't fully disengage the clutch.
I see.
Or fully disengage the engine.
Learning all the time.
Learning all the time.
This is coming together quite nicely. I'm excited. There's so many more bits to open as well. Yeah, I can't even tell you. There's too much excitement in that box.
It's done. Little plastic cover on underneath. for the clutch switch. And there we go.
Bosh.
One clutch lever installed. Brake lever. So what we need to do is we need 10mm and a flat blade screwdriver firstly. Okay?
Yeah.
So that nut's going to fall off into your hand in a minute.
Well,
You're lucky.
That, one. That nut's going to fall off into your hand.
Right, and then you grab the front brake lever.
And pump it.
And don't pump it. Do not touch it.
Whoa.
And there we go.
As easy as that.
As easy as that.
I've
You
got
can
me
feel.
nut.
You feel the weight.
Yeah, there's a difference.
And this has got a cable on it.
Yeah.
So
Saving weight all the time.
this goes in the
It's
bin.
not called Litec for a reason.
No.
What are we doing with that span adjuster?
So what we're going to do, we'll put the lever on.
Yeah.
And then what we need to do is then we need to cut and fit the span adjuster,
I see.
which is a 30-second job. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So you've got one little shim.
I once fitted a front brake lever myself on my GSXR 750 practice bike from years ago. I didn't quite put that pin in right. I went out on track. The front brake pumped up. I went down a back straight at Anglesey and I thought, God, this is getting slow. And it went ground to a halt. Turned out, because I'd not put that in right, it pumped the front brake solid. The front brake jammed on. I was stuck in the middle of the track with front brake on. And it was at that point I realised I was a rider and not a mechanic.
Not a mechanic. So what we need to do, just pop that in there. Lovely. So now we've got to decide where you would want your span adjuster. Now where would you want it
Well,
on a race
that I
bike?
can help you with, right. It's my area of expertise.
Would you want it there?
Ideally, you want to try and keep your hand on the handlebar or get it somewhere close.
So-
I mean, you can take your hand off the handlebar.
How about if we got it in this little gap here? So
Yeah, now we're talking. That is exactly where I want it.
about there, yeah?
Yeah.
So you can go on the clutch
Yeah.
and then,
Although on this bike, you won't actually need the clutch. Once you've set off, you don't use it again.
and you're not going to need the high beam.
Not,
So you're just,
not unless you can flash anyone out of the way. Coming through.
so put the little bolts in. So there's a nice position, you can,
Yeah. So just need to cut it to the right length.
so now we just need to cut it. Now, because this is a straight exit, I'm going to run this just under the standard dash.
Yeah.
Here like this. So I'm going to just put a little loop in it like that. And then what you've got to check, I'm going to turn the bars. That's about right. So do you want to get the side cutters on it?
Mm-hmm.
And then what we need to do is add enough cable for that to tighten into there. So here. And that is it, trim to length.
Is that
So-
simple?
It's that simple. And then we just need to just ever so slightly undo this, take it out of here, tighten it up, and that is it.
So we're going to wrap this for today. We've got to little fiddly jobs, and to be honest, it's getting too late in the day to be doing little fiddly jobs. So we're going to come back in the morning. This episode will keep going. We're just going to go get some food, have a night's rest, and come back to fit the rest of these shiny parts and make this bike look full factory.
Full factory, super
spec.
stock.
Yeah. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
If you're interested in fitting any of these parts that I've fitted to this BMW M1000RR, then make sure you check out Reactive Parts website in the link below. I will list every single thing that I've fitted.
You fit. You watch me fit.
We are back, day 2. See that for high energy.
That is.
We are excited for today. We are going to fit the rest of these parts. So the first thing we're going to do this morning, I can barely get my breath. I'm that excited. Exhaust.
Now is the easy part.
Yes.
We just got to unbox like Christmas.
Yeah.
And bolt it on.
Right, we're going to start. Let's go. Exhaust fit. Oh, in fact, there's 2 bolts there that Macauley fitted that on there. I don't think we need to do an in-depth review in that. We're going to keep moving forwards.
But that's it. Handlebars are done now.
Yeah.
We've got the Litec handlebars, the Litec tubes, the Litec span adjuster, clutch lever and brake lever, and the span adjuster. So
looking good.
We're
Exhaust.
super stock spec.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So we're back at the scales because we said yesterday we would weigh the exhaust. I completely forgot about it. Luckily, Macauley remembered. Yesterday we were
2.5.
You want to chuck that bit on top? 4.2 kilos, so it's nearly 50% lighter than the other one. The other one was 8 kilos and it's 4.3. Bosh.
Big savings.
Coming in, yeah. Flex, I just wanna win, yeah. LABB, who we running with, yeah.
So, Maca, what's going on here?
So what we've done now, we've taken the Arrow exhaust systems, titanium exhaust systems. We've just put the standard lambda sensors in from the standard exhaust, and then we're just going to give it a good clean. It's important to give it a good clean so you don't get the grease marks from your fingers.
Okay.
Top tip.
Top tip.
Let's pop her on.
And the lambda's literally screwed in and then you tighten them up with a spanner.
Yeah.
And then unscrewed the 2.
Unscrewed them 2 and they're dangling down there. So we'll fit it, we connect these up and then we connect them 2 on the bike. Cool.
It's where you got to make sure you take tissue out.
Just make sure you take tissue out and screws. We've got 1 gasket, 2 gasket, 3 gasket, 4 gaskets. Just sits like that. And then you put the copper screw, copper nuts on. It's easy as that. Cool. Do you want to do on this side?
Yeah.
So this here, just don't matter whether it goes this way or that way, it's all the same. So just push that onto there and then put the 2 copper nuts on.
Okay, and it's definitely that way around.
Definitely that way around. Sorry, that way around. Just checking. Just checking. Testing.
Like that?
Like that. 2 nuts. And what you want to do is you want to leave all this loose until you get the exhaust on.
Okay.
And then once the exhaust's on, and you get all the nuts and bolts in and everything lined up, then you can start to tighten it. But if you tighten these now, you just make your life easy. You make your life hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's for the end again.
Do you put the springs on that end first?
So, yeah, springs on this end, and usually I start front end and work your way back.
Okay. So you put the springs on before you tighten the copper?
Put the springs on before you... I'm only going to do a couple just to hold it. So let's hold this side. I'll put a couple in the other side. Now, lambda sensors. So that plug goes into here. There's a little bracket on the engine. See this little clip here?
Yeah. I was just going to say, where do you put the wire?
So that clips in this clip here. That's it. And that sits in there.
So while Mac is finishing up the last little bits, I have been paying attention to what he's been doing. So he's put all the springs on and then the copper nuts, he's tightened all those up. before he tightened that up, he put the rest of the exhaust on. They are a little bit fiddly exhaust to do that with. He's screwed in all the lambdas, tightened all of those, and then now he's just put in, there's one little bracket here which holds the radiator on, so he's just fitting that, reconnecting the pipes to the radiator, then we'll fill that back up with water, screw these two little bolts in here, and we're good to go to move on to the next section of the video.
Start on the next thing.
How much has Taylor had so far?
This morning,
Wait, there's a coffee. I
the
just made you a
coffee, yeah.
So there's that.
In fact, let me sample it.
Let's just check the hands.
Coffee's it.
Let's just check the hands. Let's see who's got more oil on at the moment.
Look, there's that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
The
because
phrase
we're
is,
fitting the new
work
exhaust.
smart, not hard.
Yeah. There's actually not so much dirt on here because the bike's new, completely new. So there's not so much road grime or dirt on
For
it.
people viewing at home as well, they'll have noticed that I'm also not holding the camera anymore, so I've managed to get rid of that job too. Team management, I'm getting very good at
Delegation.
delegating. I just need to delegate myself out of this now, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to fancy presenting these videos, I sit with my feet up at home.
Right, so 1 spring, 2 spring, 3 spring, 4 spring, 5 spring, 6 spring, 7 spring, 8 spring. Now, we've got this water pipe on.
D25.
What we can do, if we put that inside here,
Oh yeah.
like so, and then
Top one.
that one in there, like so, and then
Bolt in.
bolt in. Uno reverse card.
Yeah,
I'm
management.
sipping coffee. And he's building your
yours
bike.
building the bike. Such
That
a
you
bike
can win.
builder.
Yeah.
Well, I have mentioned that in this episode, but you can win this bike. And we've just found out it can be shipped internationally.
Yeah.
So if you don't live in the UK, fear not, you can still win this BMW M1000RR. Link in the description below. If anyone's ever thinking of doing a bike build series, I highly recommend doing it at a parts place, because today, so far, we've needed a spring, an overflow bottle, an exhaust bracket. What else have we needed? It's all on hand, we can just go grab stuff, so it's much easier than the last time. Thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you tune in to see how we get on next time. And Macauley.